Welcome to Rewatch-and-Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Bleach, the Bound Arc, episode 77, Unfading Grudge, the Shinigami whom Kenpachi killed. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So, episode begins where the last one left off. Maki Ichinose versus Ichigo Kurosaki. And Ichigo manages to fend off his initial Lights Blades blow with his regular. This leads Jin to interfere because he thinks, the strength of Ichigo's soul is interesting and that, he might be interesting to keep around. So he basically offers to recruit Ichigo. Ichigo refuses. And then Maki goes into some flashbacks on how he had originally met Jin in the past. So it starts with him talking to, I'm blanking on his name, but the blind captain, the one who betrayed everybody alongside Aizen. Oh, what's his name? All right, I can't remember his name. But basically, he was one of the ones who went with Aizen. And actually, I forgot the other guy's name too, the one with the white hair. Either way, the point is, one of the future villains talks to Maki about how, this duel between Kenpachi for the captain seat is allowed by law. He has to have 100 witnesses and kill him quickly. But if he kills him in this sanctioned duel, then he can become the captain. And Maki thinks that this is immoral because, Shinigami are supposed to bring peace to people's hearts, and Soul Society is supposed to be a kinder place, like a place for souls to rest. And yet this savage option to become a captain exists, and he doesn't think that it should. And then, of course, there's some screaming. He pushes through the crowd, and Kenpachi has killed the nameless, faceless captain and taken his cloak. Maki then confronts Kenpachi, and Kenpachi basically says, land a blow on me, and, I'll consider your point of view. But Maki, despite attacking, is not able to land a blow. This leads him to depression. He decides to head to the human world and chooses to wander a desert randomly. And while he's roaming the desert, he happens across a hollow. He starts to fight said hollow, but ultimately ends up losing to it. However, this is when Jin swoops in like a hero and with a single finger stops the hollow. And this is, I guess, the origin of Maki's loyalty to Jin because he respected his strength and happened to find him at his weakest when he was about to be defeated. And this then brings us back to the present where Jin basically does the same thing to Ichigo that he did to the hollow, where he puts like his pointer finger on Ichigo's forehead, obviously doing something because Ichigo, in his mental thoughts, cannot move. And ultimately, if not for Yoruichi happening to come at the last second to save him, would likely have ended up in a difficult time because Jin literally, after freezing him with the pointer finger on his forehead, flicks him and he slams into the wall. Yoruichi arrives, takes him outside Yuryu and is it Junta? Anyways, the two kids that are under Urahara, they destroy the mansion, start shooting at it, set it on fire. Meanwhile, Rukia manages to find Ishida, who insists on saving Yoshino, and then they all meet outside of the mansion, and that is where this episode ends. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, it is time to rank the episode. First, mostly objective ranking list, then the personal ranking list. So we start with our single arc supporting character development. Maki has flashbacks to where he got to where he is, losing his captain, then choosing to walk away from Soul Society, and then meeting Jin, so basically his entire backstory in 3 parts. Then we have the resolved battle, which is Ichigo versus Maki. Jin interferes and stops that one. So I don't know that it's fully a conclusion, but they did fight. It did take up a few minutes of the episode, and the fight did stop at least, so I'm counting that for 2 points. And then another 2 points, Ichigo versus Jin, which again was interfered with by Yoruichi, but again, the fight started, and now it stopped, so I'm considering them both resolved battles, bringing our mostly objective ranking to 5 out of 10 for this episode. And that brings our mostly objective ranking to in first, Creeping Terror, the second victim, the moment of collision, an evil hand draws near to the Quincy, gathering at the place of fortune, the man who makes his move, new school term, Renji has come to the human world, bound to the ones who hunt souls, true identity of the devil, the secret which is revealed, death game, the missing classmate, Rukia's return, revival of the substitute team, break through the trap hidden in the labyrinth, water attack, escape from the shutdown hospital. This episode comes in 11th place, Unfading Grudge, the Shinigami whom Kenpachi killed. Then we have Earth-Shattering Event at the 11th Division, the Shinigami who rises again, Memories of an Eternally Living Clan, and Crashing Force, Freed versus Zangetsu. My personal ranking for this episode, I feel like it's on par with the last episode. Honestly, I feel like there was 2 fights, but they were very brief. There was a little bit of talking in the case of Ishida, but it was mostly flashbacks of Maki's history, and while I don't dislike this Shinigami, he is a villain, and also I understand being upset that you lost someone, but it does feel a little bit, um, I feel like it's dangerous to let somebody mean so much to you that you're willing to give up everything when they die and feel like you yourself died when they died. I feel like people need to love themselves more sometimes. Not to the point of narcissism where you don't love anybody else, but I just feel like the strength of his connection first to his original captain and now to Jin speaks to maybe some sort of codependency issue that Maki should probably be working on. And I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't hate this character, but he's also not one that's overly compelling. But as I've mentioned before, in this arc, I don't really find any of the characters to be overly compelling, which is regrettable. Like, honestly, I was more interested in the origin of Kenpachi becoming the captain than I was Maki flashing back to his story. Because I like Kenpachi as a character, not as much as Maki, but again, like, I don't dislike Maki. He's more somebody I'm neutral to indifferent towards, which again, like, because most of this episode was taken up with his backstory, which reveals some, like I said, disturbing codependency to first his captain, now Jin, um, and a lack of being able to find his own path in life on his own, um, led me to be kind of like meh about it. So I liked the battles, they were interesting. The special effects that were drawn in to the battles were good, and like I said, I do like Maki's sword. It's rainbow. Light sword. I think that's awesome. So I decided to give it a 4, which brings us to in first, gathering at the place of fortune, the man who makes his move, bound to the ones who hunt souls, creeping terror, the second victim, new school term, Renji has come to the human world, true identity of the devil, the secret which is revealed, break through the trap hidden in the labyrinth, death game, the missing classmate, water attack, escape from the shutdown hospital, Rukia's return, revival of the substitute team, Crashing Force, Freed versus Zangetsu. This episode, for me, also is in 11th place, Unfading Grudge, the Shinigami whom Kenpachi killed, followed by Earth-Shattering Event at the 11th Division, the Shinigami who rises again, the moment of collision, an evil hand draws near to the Quincy, and then in 14th we have Memories of an Eternally Living Clan. Which brings us now to the series ranking so far. And on both lists, we are currently in alignment. Soul Society the Rescue arc is in first, Agent of the Shinigami arc in second, Soul Society the Sneak Entry arc in third, and so far on the Bount arc on the mostly objective ranking, we have 95 out of 280, and on the personal ranking, we have 79 out of 280. And just as an aside, it does kind of make me sad that this arc is longer than all of the other ones and is just a filler arc and not even a very good one. Either way, with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Bleach, The Bound Arc, Episode 77, Unfading Grudge, The Shinigami Whom Kenpachi Killed. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.